You might be waiting for the perfect moment to retire, the perfect savings number, the perfect health, the perfect situation, and on paper, it all sounds very responsible. But folks, here's the uncomfortable truth most people just don't talk about. Perfect doesn't exist. And chasing it, it often backfires. Folks, I've talked to hundreds of people who thought they needed one more year, just one more raise, one more safety cushion. And almost every one of them told me the same thing. Waiting didn't bring me peace. It brought me more anxiety. In fact, for many retirees, the pursuit of a flawless end ends up costing them more time, more peace, more experiences, that they can never get back. So today we're going to talk about why that happened. Why waiting for the just right moment to retire creates stress instead of security. And what actually matters more than perfection, especially when it comes to retiring with some comfort. If you've been hesitating to retire before you feel like you're not quite ready yet, folks, you're not alone. Almost everyone feels this way at some point. Most people, they don't fear retirement itself. They fear getting it wrong. The good news is this: you don't need a perfect plan to have a good retirement. With the right perspective, you can stop waiting, you can start living, and you can still retire in comfort without feeling reckless or unprepared. We're trained for this. Work life rewards perfection. You plan carefully, you save diligently, you avoid all kinds of mistakes. You double check everything. Everything that was in your career, you double check it. Being cautious paid off. Folks, but retirement's different. It's not a performance review. There's no promotion for getting it right. There's no bonus for waiting an extra year just to feel safer. And yet, many people carry that work mindset straight into retirement. They try to predict every possible outcome, account for every future expense. They want to eliminate every ounce of risk. And instead of creating peace, it creates paralysis. The irony is this: the very habits that helped you succeed at work can quietly rob you of freedom in your retirement. Here's the problem with perfect plans. Life doesn't cooperate. Markets fluctuate, health changes, family needs shift, priorities evolve. Even if your retirement plans look perfect today, folks, there's no guarantee it's still going to look that way next year, or even next month for that matter. That doesn't mean planning is useless. It means planning has limits. The retirees who thrive, they aren't the ones with flawless spreadsheets. They're the ones who can adjust without panic. They know how to spend a little less when needed. They can change plans without feeling like they failed. They can adapt without spiraling into fear. Perfection assumes control. Retirement requires flexibility. Let's take a quick pause. Folks, if you want practical, realistic retirement guidance without fear-based headlines or chasing perfection, make sure you're subscribed to my channel. This is a place for calm conversations about what actually works in retirement. Okay, let's get back into it. Delaying retirement for the sake of perfection, it has real costs, folks. And most of them, they don't show up on a spreadsheet. You lose experiences, you lose time, and you lose energy. Those one more year decisions, they add up. And often, people don't realize what they gave up until later. Trips they were healthy enough to enjoy, time with family when schedules aligned perfectly, simple freedom to wake up without obligations. Time is the one resource in retirement planning can't be replaced. Perfection is an illusion, folks. Time is real, and unfortunately it's not renewable. Waiting doesn't always make retirement better. Sometimes it just makes it shorter. Here's what actually creates comfort. Not perfection, not perfect numbers, but flexibility in spending, adaptability in your lifestyle, confidence in your decisions. Comfort comes from knowing you can adjust, not from believing you won't have to. It's being okay with saying, well, we'll travel less this year. That's fine. We'll cook more at home. We won't eat out as much. We'll change plans, and that's fine. That's not a problem. You know, when you focus on adaptability instead of perfection, uncertainty becomes manageable. And peace replaces fear. You don't need to solve everything at once. You don't need to predict the next 30 years. What you do need is momentum. You know, that might look like making small adjustments to your plan, reviewing your finances once or twice a year, prioritizing what actually brings you happiness. You know, these small intentional steps, they build confidence, and confidence quiets the fear that perfection feeds on, really. If you've been waiting for the perfect retirement, remember this: perfection, it's impossible. Waiting can cost you peace, it can cost you health, and a lot of experiences. Flexibility and confidence, they matter far more than being exact, the exact numbers. You don't need to be perfect to retire well. What you do need is to start where you are. That's when retirement truly begins, folks. So if this message connected with you, watch the next video. Things I stopped worrying about after retirement. It shows how letting go of common worries transforms retirement into a calmer, more fulfilling life. And if you want honest, calm conversations about retirement, without the hype, without the fear, without the scare tactics, make sure you're subscribed to my channel, Retired Under Budget. Folks, thanks for spending a few moments with me today, and I'll see you in the next one.